Hello, hello, hello. Welcome everyone. Today we have Dani, which is the bestseller author in USA, in UK, and globally. So I'm so excited to have her today in, and she will share us her secrets. So let's welcome Dani. Welcome.
Thanks for having me, Roxandra. I think this is gonna be awesome.
Excited?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So I spoke with Dani a few times already. So I know she's doing an amazing job and I'm so inspired by you and I can't wait to tell them a bit about your journey and also what do you do at the moment and how we met. And yeah, just let's start and create some magic with them while they are watching us. So they will definitely learn a lot from you.
Yeah, definitely. Whew. So where do I begin? Okay, so I guess I could start off with that pivotal point in my life, and that's when I had a traumatic brain injury. So with that, I had to relearn how to walk, how to use my brain. I mean, my whole entire life just stopped in an instant, and I had no idea what to do. And I remember as I looked up and stared up at the ceiling in the hospital bed, going like, "What am I doing?" That's when I heard this inner voice, and the inner voice told me, "This is but a moment." And that's when it clicked. I realized that I get to choose what happens next. I could stay in this bed, or I can push forward and keep pushing on towards that ideal life or my kind of life, my future that I knew I could have. And so I kept pushing. I mean, it took 7 years to fully heal, or as
Mm,
healed as I possibly could be, but it was definitely worth it. And I learned so much. Oh my gosh, so much. And so I became a mind and body coach from that. And then I've talked on many podcasts and I learned how important my story truly is and how inspiring it is. So then I turned it into a book. And now, as you said, it's an international bestseller. So I'm pretty stoked about that. And it
yay!
and then it was from that I realized, wait, why don't I start helping others get their story out there? Because everyone has a story to share. And why not get some help on the way? So I've started a community, the Storyteller's Path. And on that community, I'm all about helping and supporting and giving some of the tips, the tricks, and things I learned from my own personal journey on writing.
That's beautiful. And this is how I met you. And I remember being, wow, so grateful that finally I found someone who could actually help me because I've been, as you know now, but let me share it with everyone. My mom's in the group, they don't know this about me, but I've been trying. I'm saying trying because I'm still trying to write a book for the past 4 years. So I've been working on a book and I've been writing and writing and writing and never publish it. And now I've been working with Danny for a few weeks and I realized that instead of having a book, I can actually have 3 books. And she gave me step-by-step guidance on how to do that in 6 months and publish it in 6 months. So this is something she definitely is so good at, and she does this for the community where are lots of amazing, talented new beginners authors. Not all of them are really experts, and I would love if you could share with us the basics. Like if someone wants to start writing a book, what sort of steps they need to follow? Like for me, it was really, really huge when you mentioned to me, the foundation and the journey. I remember even now the way you said to make it as a movie. I love that. So yes, just go for it and give us some tips, please.
Yeah, definitely. So when you're first starting, this is probably the hardest time because you have so much self-doubt and you're getting in your way saying, "Oh, my story doesn't really matter." But it does because there are 8 billion people in the world and you can't tell me there's not at least one other person that your story truly matters to them because they could be maybe going through something similar or the exact same thing in their life and they don't have the courage to get it out there. But you do, and doing that step and getting it published and getting in front of all those people, you have no idea how many people's lives you can change. And that knowing that it helps you click and know which way to go. But the one thing that I always ask everyone when I do the one-on-one is, what is your why? Because this is so vital because everyone has those days where they feel off and they're like, what's the point? And when those times come, you look back at your why, and that what helps you go forward instead of being
Mm,
stuck in tracks. So,
mm,
like for instance, for me, when I had those days, I would be like, why am I doing this? And then I would remember my why, and my why was to help inspire people and help them and give them hope and let them see that, hey, look at what I overcame. I think you can overcome some stuff as well in life. And it's not the comparing game. I don't want people to do that because everyone's journey is completely personal and different for them. So it's just like with my journey, I just showed them what I went through and how I experienced it and how I got over it. Because I mean, there are some things like having a broken heart that can be worse than physical pain at times. And I think many of us kind of get caught up in that comparison, which it's not necessary. We should all work together instead. And then
mm,
another good first step is working on making that foundation when it comes to a story. So when I say that, I'm talking about like working on brainstorming. Just get the ideas out of your head. Don't judge and don't edit because at this time it's you just want to see what is going through your mind and then see if you can get them to work together or make a story from what you get. And after doing this for a little bit, maybe a week or two, then you'll start getting parts of it coming together and then you'll start working on some kind of outline and then that's a great way. And then it's also good to know what is the theme of your book. So, for instance, for mine, inspiration, motivation, hope, those are pretty big themes for my book. And then, of course, the problems in mine was the traumatic brain injury, having to overcome that. And some of the other things would be my mind getting in the way because, hey, self-doubt, comparing myself to the past me that wasn't broken to the current me that was broken, that was a tough thing to take in for sure.
mm.
And I know many people would have those kinds of issues with whatever they're going through too, because, you know, it we have to realize to give ourselves some grace, and it's okay not to be on top of your game all the time. It's okay.
Mm,
This is some tool I learned on my whole healing process is I started talking to myself as if I was a kid and being my best friend, my best cheerleader. Because there are definitely those days when you're just like, I can't do anything and I've been trying and nothing's going the right way. But when that happens, that's when you truly need to just be like, it's okay. I'm here for me. And it's not being selfish when you're there for yourself because you have to. I mean, you're the one living with yourself. You're the one inside your head. So,
yes. Wow, so much valid there. Absolutely. And it's so much you said that actually I can relate to it. And one question that I ask myself so many times is, will I be living with me? Like, will I like myself? Like the way I am, the way I show up in business or as a mom or as a wife, will I choose someone like me to show up like that? And sometimes makes me realize like, oh, no, I don't like that. Then I know exactly what do I need to work on. If I'm not choosing one, I'm like, okay, so why would others choose me then? So, and also comparing, that's so huge. Once you start stopping that, especially comparing your children, comparing your business, comparing your success, your income, that's a game changer once you manage to do that. Absolutely. So your why is really, really important. And wow, it's so deep connected to you. Can you just tell me a little bit of other examples of you work with so many people now? What sort of whys do they have? To give a bit of guidance maybe to others, just to see maybe they don't know their why yet.
yeah, definitely. So I've had one woman and I love her why. Her why is she wants help, she wants to help people see how or learn how to love one another. And her reason is because she sees all this violence or all this hatred that like happens and arguments, all these kinds of things. So she wants to help people realize that it's best to love one another instead of starting a fight or starting some kind of violence acts or whatever it may be. And I just love that. And then there's another one. His why is he wants to help create community, togetherness. And so it's kind of similar in a way where they want to bring people together. And his reasoning is he had some tough times in his own personal life. And what helped him keep going is the support that he
Mm,
got, the
mm.
community that came when he needed it the most.
Oh,
And let's some other ones. Oh man, I've talked to so many people.
I
I
know.
Yeah, I talked with this one girl, and her story is going to be about how she overcame a stroke. And the reason that she's doing that is to help people realize her why with that is she wants to help people realize how you can heal yourself in a natural way and not always turn everything towards pharmaceutical because that's how she got the stroke was because of pharmaceutics because they did the opposite of what they were supposed to and ended up hurting her over that. So she just wants to make it more known out there. And I believe that's great because, not everyone, it's good to have an open mind and not just think one way. And that's just what I
Mm.
truly believe.
Yeah. Wow. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's so important to be true to who you are. And even this project, Be You, I started this, as you know, and probably you heard me, everyone who's watching, you heard me so many times. I do help moms in business. I do help them to find balance between, who they are as a mom and who they are as a business owner. But I also believe that we need collaborations. And I started this just so I can show my little, members in my community, like, look, those women are so different. They have their unique gifts. They do things so differently, but they are true to who they are. And it is possible, it is possible to work together. And lots of collaborations came out of it, lots of new projects. And it's beautiful when we come together and we either spread love to one each other, right? So this is really, really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, I would like to tell them the story that before being a bestseller, you told me, so I know this from inside, but you know, people are thinking you're just lucky or it just happens, you're successful like that. So, can you tell us a bit about your kids' book? Just a little bit. We don't need everything, but just a little bit.
Fun. Okay, so before my international bestseller, I wrote a children's picture book. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I just had this burning desire inside me that I needed to get this story out there. And now I understand it a lot more. But at the time, I was just like, what the heck am I doing? What ended up happening is I spent like $4,000 to self-publish this book. So I researched it and did all this work and had no idea, found a professional editor, 2 grand just to do that. And
Mm,
then doing the book formatting, tried to do that myself. Oh man, that was a headache and a half. And then getting book cover, illustrations, all that kind of stuff. And personally, I'm not fond of self-publishing because of that experience. It was a lot of money, and I was so exhausted when I finally got it out that I didn't keep promoting it because I was so tired. And then, of course, everything dropped. No one knew about it anymore because I was the only one that was promoting it, and
mm,
I'm okay with that. I accept it now, and I realize that I had to do that in order to learn that side of the creating a book and also to get that feeling of getting a book out there because it's not about it becoming a bestseller or getting awards or any of this stuff. I really needed just to get that accomplishment of saying, hey, I have a children's picture book out there that I made. And just having that validation and that accomplishment just, it made my day.
mm. Thank you for sharing that. It's beautiful. Thank you. So, what have you done differently with this bestseller book now? If you look back,
So with this one, I went with an independent publishing company. I went with She Rises Studios. So with that, I paid $600, and that covers the ISBN number, the book for formatting, book cover, the professional editor, all the stuff pretty much to make a book. Plus, they helped promote it. So it's like similar to self-publishing in the sense that you have all of your freedom to make it and all this kinds of things, but it takes all the extra work away from you having to figure it out yourself. And that just took off so much stress. And
Mm,
the price tag on it, I was like, of course I'm gonna do that. Why wouldn't I when I just spent this amount?
of
So
course, yeah.
yeah, that's the huge. And I also have like I think I met up with them monthly just to see where I was at to help me in that sense. It was just that it was missing more support that I felt like I needed, which is why I created the community.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So did you have to promote it by yourself, or actually, I know you said they help you with that, but was it needed for you to actually go out there and try to sell it on your own? Is that a step that you took as well to make it happen as a bestseller?
Yes, definitely. And that was something they recommended because I think that's with many publishing companies. They're going to recommend that you keep promoting it yourself because you want it to get out there and visibility is very important to get it out there. So it's like something that they mentioned to me is many people that publish a book, they talk and talk about it for a month or two, but after that, then it's like it slowly dwindles away because it's not as in their mind, but you have to keep pushing forward on that because there are a lot of books out there and people are doing a lot of things all the time on social media, on websites, all this kind of stuff. So if you don't keep it up to date or keep talking about it, they're going to forget about it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for that. And it's not like you have thousands of millions of followers, so it's not like you're famous or anything. You stick to it and it was your goal and you were consistent about it. Now tell us about the day. Do you remember the day you found out you are a bestseller?
Yeah, I do. I got an email from She Rises Studios, and as I read it, I was like, "Wait, what?" And so I had to reread it a few times, and I'm like, oh my gosh," because this is something that I've been visualizing and doing like all this extra inner work towards it because I wanted it so bad. And then finally, when it happened, I was like in tears and so thankful. And that's definitely the time where I was like telling everyone, hey, guess what? I wrote an international bestseller.
So
And I didn't even let it go to my head because I'm like, hey, how many people can say that? I'm not like trying to, I don't know, push it on people. I was just like, hey, I'm really excited. Hear my great news.
of course. So tell us a bit of that. So obviously, I know you're a bestseller. It was in USA, in UK. How that works? Is it a case of, yeah, yeah, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So it was an international bestseller in Germany in two different categories, and then it was in the UK, Australia, and the US. And oh wait, no, over seven categories in each of those. And it's all in Amazon. So it's like I think it's specifically the categories that it's in. That's how it gets marked bestseller.
hmm
It's I think out of 10 or so. I'm not really sure how the ranking all on that goes because Amazon likes to have that all tightly.
Hidden. Yes, thank you. Yeah, no, makes sense. At least you have an idea how it works. So it's not just, in one country and that's it. You could actually be a bestseller worldwide based on how many copies do you sell from that. Yeah, makes sense. That makes. Okay. Now, what else would you like to share with us? If it's like a little secret or something about writing a book, obviously you said us already, but is there something else? Is there like a secret ingredient that actually you could maybe help us who they want maybe to write a book, or maybe they even like me, like for example, let's take someone like me who's been writing for years, writing and writing and writing, super creative, lots of things, but it's a mess when it comes down to basic foundation, structure and everything. What would you say to someone like me?
So I would have to say that it sounds like you might need to do some journaling. And that's where you asking yourself questions like, why am I stopping at this? Why am I procrastinating? Or why am I not letting this get structured as I feel? And like those kind of things. And then just don't judge, no editing, let the pen go to the paper and just let it flow. And then, of course, it might be hard at first because your mind is like, I'm going to answer my own question. That's strange. Like, what is this? This is heebie-jeebies, whatever it is. But
Mm-hmm.
just do it and let it go. And then you'll figure out what is stopping you and what's making this block happen. Like, this is what I had to do several times through my writing process. It was like my best-selling book didn't come out until 2 months later than it was supposed to. And the reason is because I was procrastinating. I was getting in my own way. And I finally journaled about it and I figured out that I was scared. I was
Mm.
so scared to get such a personal story out there to more than family and friends, to the public, to everyone. And finally, when I realized that, that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to stop this and I'm just going to get it published, talk to my publishing company, and then got it out there like within that week. And
Wow.
yeah, and another thing I think that is very helpful is remembering what the base, the foundation of your book is, because that will help you structure and do the outlining as well. So there's also like the three act structure that you could do, where there's a beginning, middle, end. It's really good to know the defining moment in a book. And this all comes down to like if it's a personal story, this could be where it's maybe self-help with personal experiences involved. This is this kind of category, I guess. You can still do this for like fictional books as well. It's just that needs to probably have a lot more details involved and extra side work that is involved since you're making probably a whole new world or whatever it may be.
It's exciting. So tell us more about your community. So how you came up with the idea, like literally, and why 6 months? Why you put this there? Oh, actually, yeah, tell me this, and then I would like to talk about the contract you made me sign. So that's something else I would like to speak with you later on. So tell us this, why 6 months? What six, why?
I think it's because it's eye-catching, and I think a lot of people think that it's going to take them so long, but it doesn't have to take you so long to write a book. The reason that many people tend to have to write a longer book is because they're getting in their own way. They make excuses over and over again, like, "Oh, I can't do this because I have this and this." But what I've been telling many of the people when I have one-on-ones is like, just dedicate 5 minutes towards your book. You don't even have to start writing it yet because what I want them to do is start getting consistent with the time, and then they can start extending how much time they do and then start making writing and everything. And it's 21 days of being consistent with something is how you can start making it into a habit.
Yeah,
And so that is
absolutely.
very helpful for that. I think, did that cover it? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
yes, it did. Absolutely, yes. And w- we mentioned about the contract you made me sign. I think that's because, yes, like you said, and I'm guilty of that, we self-sabotage so often, and it might be fear of success, fear of failure. What if I publish it and nobody will buy it? Why if I'm too vulnerable? Why if I'm saying too much from my personal life? Like all sorts of thoughts, are coming and stopping to go and do it and publish it. And also, sometimes it might be the unknown. Like, even for me, I remember when I started about writing a book, oh my gosh, I spent so much time researching, how to do it. Like, editor, and I knew I need a cover. I knew I need someone to, to help me to line the page. And I was like getting, just the research, just doing the research. It was so time consuming because it was so new. And I felt like, oh my gosh, this is too much. I will never be able to do it. But now, like you mentioned about usually publishers, usually I know the companies, usually they are quite pricey. But I'm glad you found this one, which actually is really helpful and really good price, which is perfect. You might have a contract with them, try to affiliate you yourself with them. That might be really good for your extra money. And definitely, we self-sabotage, that's for sure. And you made me sign that contract, and I love it. And I do that with my clients slightly differently, but I love that concept. Can you tell us more about that? And how did you come up with that idea?
Yeah, so Junus Mango. He is from Estonia and he's a friend of mine now. He's the reason why I created my community because I had no idea what I was going to do. I didn't even know that this was my calling because before I was just doing mind and body coaching. But once I had my first one-on-one, I was like, this is meant for all. Oh, we got cut out for a second. There we
Yeah,
go.
sorry. You said this is meant for you to do, no?
Yeah, this is meant for me to do. And I feel so much passion for doing this. I mean, hearing other people's stories and then seeing their eyes light up as we have our one-on-one. Oh my gosh, there's nothing better than that. So he's the reason that I started doing this. And he has a community out there called the Fuck It Listers. And so this is all about creating like a bucket list. But the reason that he has it called that is because he has it on a time constraint. So you can accomplish all the things, all these adventures, all these dreams that you've had at a shorter time span because he wants you to enjoy it instead of waiting before you pass. And it makes
Mm.
complete sense to me. And so like in that, he has created the contract in there. And he wanted most of us that he's helping create these communities adopt it. And I was like at first hesitant on it, but then I realized how helpful it actually was for the people. Because I personally have been kind of against contracts just because I don't like having a punishment for it. But then when I learned that little trick of like making the punishment something that you've been avoiding doing instead. So, for instance, for me, when I failed my contract, I now have to sing on a stage in front of people. And I've always wanted to do this, but I was getting in my own way because it's freaking scary.
Yes.
But
So the
now,
concept,
yeah.
sorry, just to make sure they understand, so the concept of the contract, so how it works, the format is you are saying, if I don't publish my book by a certain day, time, everything, then you do something that you are scared about or afraid of, or it's like a little punishment, like you said. So yours was to sing in public. Have you done it?
No, I'm going to be doing it in June.
Okay, so you will. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's perfect. So now
Yeah.
let's go a bit into the motherhood. I know you have a 3 years old. Tell us a bit more about you being a mom. What do you like about being a mom?
Well, I love that feeling you get with the little guy or little girl where it's just like you've been missing this your whole life and you didn't even realize it until you have it. And that is amazing, especially when you get those morning hugs. And
Hello, mommy.
yeah, it makes the whole day way better when you get morning hugs and kisses and oh, I love you, mommy. It's just like, oh, heart melting.
So adorable. And is there a struggle that you overcome in the motherhood?
Oh, yes, 100%. I had issues breastfeeding, and that was really difficult. I mean, I can completely understand why some women have so much depression from that instant because it's like you feel that you're supposed to give this nutrients to your child, but you can't, and there's something in the way. And so, like, I didn't give up on myself when that happened. I worked at it for a month, and finally I was able to do it. So, in that time frame, it worked out really well because my husband got to have those times with my son, and we had a little tiny cup that we would feed him with that worked
Hmm.
until finally we were able to get it to work better.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. That's really personal. And I have one more question for you, and I will let you go. I know you're busy. Can you just share with us how do you find balance between business and looking after your family? What's your secret? And if you could share with us something that really worked for you.
Yeah. I think what really helps is that here in Sweden, they have something that's like preschool daycare-ish thing, and the kids get to start going to that at 1 year old. So my kid gets to be there like 8 to 3. And so that whole time frame, I get to work and focus on my work stuff at home. And then when he comes home, then I have all that time for him. And then once he goes to bed, I have maybe one or two meetings because I have people and meetings that would be in the US. So the time frame works better. So that's how I
Mm-hmm.
make it work. And then, of course, I still take time for me because that is essential.
Absolutely, it is, and I love to hear that. Honestly, this is something that me with my little moms, are not little, my clients we work on, and you will see, especially on this BU project, so many guests are talking about it. It's so crucial. It's so crucial to look after yourself, so then you can actually look after others that you love. So thank you for bringing that as well. Is there anything you would like to ask me or the community in general so I can talk on their behalf? Is there something that you like, or if you have a final message that you like to leave us with?
Um, I think what I'd have to say is many of us moms need to realize that we do matter and we have a lot on our plates. And I completely understand that. And we also have to realize that we are human. We are not superheroes, even though we can do extraordinary things and we can accomplish so much. We're still human and it's okay. And it kind of comes back to how I mentioned talking to yourself as a kid and giving yourself grace. So I guess I just want to leave people with that and make them realize that, hey, it's okay. Love yourself and have that time for yourself.
That's so amazing. Thank you, Danny, so much for all your time and everything, honestly, you share with us. It's so, so important for us to hear from you. And one more question, and then I promise I'll let you go. Are you planning in writing another book? Another
Uh,
bestseller?
yes, I am. I am definitely. It's just this next one is going to be even more personal because it involves my upbringing and that family. And there's a lot of ghosts in the closet that I'm going to have to make sure how to present it in a good way. And I might even need to do some research because it's a little scary.
Deep. Yeah, I can tell that. Oh, bless. Okay, so we're gonna keep an eye on that. And people can find your book on Amazon. I will definitely put a link here. And is it Facebook the best platform where they can find you, or where can they find you?
Yeah, so people can find me on my website, misfitwanders.com, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. I'm kind of all over the place.
Okay, perfect. So I will definitely make sure we have all your details here so they can know how to access you. And if you go and speak with Danny, please send a butterfly so then she knows you're coming from this butterfly community, Supermom's Magic Circle. And thank you again for having being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for having me.
Thank you. I wish you all the best and we keep in touch, okay? Thank you, Danny.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.